In this video, I'm going to talk about the different reasons that we use in geometry proofs for angle pairs. So anytime you're using angle pairs, and really it should be like this video or these notes, whatever, right? You need to reference these notes whenever you're using angle pairs. Okay, now there's going to be a few, well, there's at least one theorem. If you see a theorem, then I've got a separate video proving that theorem. In this video, I just want to give you the details, but I think it's really important for you to know the proofs and know why they work. But this video is more to just give them to you so that you have them and know how to use them. Okay, so the vertical angles theorem, if two angles are vertical, now let's say vertical angles are formed by two lines. So there's one line, and I'm using different colors for a reason. There's another line. Now, vertical angles are the angles that are across from each other. Okay, they are across from each other. Now, yes, and if you think about it, right, this angle is supplementary to this angle, and this angle is supplementary to that angle. So these are both supplements of this angle, which means they're congruent. So that might be one way to think about it. So the angles that are vertical here would either be these two angles or these two angles. Those are the vertical angles. Then they are congruent. So maybe we call this 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2, and angle 3 is congruent to angle 4. That's the vertical angles theorem, or the VAT. You can shorthand that. And you will use this a lot. A lot. Okay. And we've already done some work with complementary and supplementary angles, but I want to make sure we define them rigorously here. So first, the definition of complementary angles. If two angle measures have the sum of 90 degrees, then they are complementary. So you might see maybe like this. I don't know, sure, there and there. And there, and there, right? If those two add to 90 degrees, so we'll call this 1 and 2. If the measure in 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 90, then they are complementary angles. So that's the definition, right? And it goes both ways, right? So notice that this is a biconditional statement. So if two angles are complementary, then the angle measures have a sum of 90 degrees. Okay, supplementary angles. Well, and maybe it's worth noting that, I don't know. It might be worth noting that if you were to take, if I can, here we go. If you were to take something like that, right, and create two angles in there, right? If this was a right angle, then these two angles 3 and 4. Angles 3 and 4 would also be supplementary or complementary, sorry. Okay, supplementary angles. Definition of supplementary angles. If two angles measures, if the measures of two different angles have the sum of 180 degrees. So again, let's try to draw that. Oops. Maybe there and there, close enough. And then there, and there. So angle 1 and angle 2. If the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 degrees, then they are supplementary angles. Okay, and that's just a definition, and that goes both ways. If two angles are supplementary angles, then the angle measures have a sum of 180 degrees. And you could draw those on the same line, but we're about to watch that in the linear pair theorem. If two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. So what is a linear pair? Well, a linear pair is just two angles that are formed from a straight angle, right? So angle 1, angle 2. These angles form a linear pair if they are on two angles making the same line. Then they are supplementary. So that's, and that's really all I can say, right? If two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. If you wanted to say that their measures were equal to 180, you would have to say two things, right? You notice angle 1 and 2 look like this. Well, by the linear pair theorem, they're supplementary. And then by the definition of supplementary angles, their angles equal 180 degrees. That's two steps, not one. A lot of people will try to use the linear pair theorem or the LPT to try to justify that two angles sum to 180, but you can only say that after you've said they're supplementary. Okay, and that's it. Three short things. Like I said, there's two theorems in this video, but I wanted to keep this video short and concise. So if you're curious as to why the vertical angles theorem or the linear pair theorem works, well then, you'll just have to watch and look for some other videos that I'll make. Don't worry. Until then, see you later.